Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are here today because of the criminal acts of this young girl, Goldilocks. Today you will hear testimony that will prove that Goldilocks committed the crimes of trespassing, petty larceny, and criminal mischief when she unlawfully barged into the home of the Three Bears. During this trial, you will hear from the police and Three Bears, who will say that Goldilocks matched the description of the trespasser who was in the house, the Big Bad Wolf, an eyewitness who saw Goldilocks enter the house, the Blind Mice, who heard Goldie admit into going into the house, from Gingerbread Boy and Chicken Little, who saw her run away from the scene of the crime, Mr. Bass, who saw her go into the woods, and Mrs. Bass, who saw her all sweaty and out of breath when she was in her store. After you hear all the evidence, you will find, without a doubt, that Goldilocks committed the crime she has been charged with. Thank you.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today we'll be hearing fascinating tales about an intruder who apparently looks like my client, who broke into the home of the Three Bears and did some terrible things. While Goldilocks and I are very sorry that the Three Bears have some personal problems, she's in no way responsible for the things she is falsely accused of. Not only has there been a misunderstanding here, but we also believe our client has been framed. Please listen carefully to the testimony you will hear today. If you do, you will see that some witnesses are not being truthful, that none of the witnesses can identify my client as the person who committed the crimes in the Bears house. The police rushed to a fast conclusion and failed to investigate other suspects. And some witnesses are either blind, deaf, have cookie dough for brains, are anti-bacon, or just aren't that smart. You will see that there are plenty of reasons to doubt that it was Goldilocks that did these terrible things, and therefore you will very easily find her not guilty of the crime she is accused of committing. Thank you.
The prosecution calls Sergeant Oleschuk to the stand.
Hey boy, what you want, what you want, what you gonna do?
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Sergeant Oleschuk.
You may sit down.
Did you receive a call from the Bear House on the morning in question?
Yes, Papa Bear called and said someone had been in his house and some damage had been done.
What did you do after getting that call?
We stopped for some donuts. Donuts. And then we drove back to the Bear family house. Investigated the crime scene and interviewed the Bear family.
What did they tell you about what happened?
Papa told me that the porch was too hot, so they went for a bike ride. He said when they came home, they found the door open, some pork had been tasted, some chairs were moved, and Baby Bears was broken. Mom's clothes were a mess, and some money was missing. He told me they found a girl trying to escape out the window above Baby Bear's bed.
What did they tell you about the girl?
That she had blonde hair, was about 4 feet tall, and was wearing a red dress with yellow sleeves.
What did you do next?
I had a donut, one of those delicious jelly ones. And then contacted my partner, Officer Dina Talley, and she and I interviewed the other witnesses in the woods to see if anyone had seen or heard anything.
When you examined the crime scene, what did you find?
It appeared that a person entered through the front door. We also found a gray hair at Papa Bear's porch. The Bear family thought it was Rocky Raccoon because he was in their house before, but he's nocturnal, so we ruled him out since the break-in was around 10 in the morning.
No further questions.
Did you investigate whether any other girls fit the description given by the Bears?
No, I didn't.
So it could have been another person who did all these things, and you didn't even check out if there were other suspects.
To be honest, since she fit the description, there really wasn't any reason to investigate further. Besides, I had to get my second job. I work part-time as a security guard at the local Dunkin' Donuts. It is the best job. Do you know I get discounts on the donuts?
Did you find Goldilocks' fingerprints when you investigated the crime scene?
Yes, the only place we found them was over the window ledge, over Baby Bear's bed.
Other than the window in Baby Bear's room, did you find any other open windows in the house?
No, the person who did this must have come through the front door.
You say person who did this. Is it possible that there are no fingerprints downstairs because an animal did this, and animals have paw prints, not fingerprints?
I guess it's possible, but animals don't wear dresses or have blonde hair.
No further questions.
The prosecution calls Papa Bear to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right paw. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
What happened in your house on the morning in question?
Mama Bear made porridge. Not only was it pretty awful, but as usual, it was too hot. So we decided to go on for a bike ride to let it cool. Just once I'd like if she made some pancakes instead of porridge.
What happened when you came back from the bike ride?
The front door is open. Someone had tasted my porridge and moved my rocking chair. Nobody touches Papa's chair.
Do you know who tasted your porridge and moved your rocking chair?
I believe it was that blonde-haired girl sitting over there.
And why do you believe Goldilocks? Goldilocks was the person that did all those terrible things.
She looks exactly like the girl I found climbing out the window above Baby Bear's bed.
What did you do after you saw Goldilocks jump out of the window?
First I thought this is going to look really bad. I mean, I own my own security business and some silly little girl tries to break into my house so easily. If word got out, it would not be so good for business. While I was thinking this, I ran out to the front porch to see if I could catch her. I let out a growl and then I saw her running off into the forest. Then I went back inside and called the police.
Did Goldilocks have permission to be in your house that day?
Are you crazy? No way.
No further questions.
When the police came to your house, did you identify Goldilocks as the person who had been in your house?
No, I did not.
Why didn't you identify Goldilocks?
Because I didn't see her face that day. I only saw her from the back as she jumped out the bedroom window.
So you cannot be sure that it was Goldilocks who was in your house that day, can you?
No, I can't be sure, but she looks just like the girl who was in my house. Come on, blonde girl, red dress and yellow sleeves. It obviously wasn't Mr. Bass.
Only one I dressed once, I swear.
And if you can't be sure that she was in your house that day, then you also can't be sure that she tasted your porridge or moved your chair.
No, I can't be sure, but if she tasted my porridge, and I'm sure she would have gotten sick.
Is it possible that it was somebody else who was in your house that day?
I guess it's possible, just like it's possible that Miss Bass is going to win the town beauty pageant.
Did he say I want a beauty pageant? Oh, the judges were blind or bad.
Did you say anything to Baby Bear when you were leaving for the bike ride that morning?
Yes, I told him to close and lock the door.
Do you know if he followed your directions?
I didn't check, but even though he's not too bright, he is a good little bear, so I am sure that he closed and locked the door.
No further questions. The prosecution calls Mama Bear to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right paw. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Mama Bear.
You may sit down. You may sit down.
What happened in your house on the morning in question?
I made porridge for the family for breakfast, and as usual, Papa and Baby Bear complained it was too hot. Papa don't appreciate him. Anyway, Papa suggested we go for a bike ride to let the porridge cool.
What happened after the bike ride?
We came home and I discovered that someone had tasted my porridge and moved my rocking chair. When we went upstairs, had also found out that someone had tried on all of my dresses and hats and left them in a terrible wrinkled mess on the floor.
Do you know who did those terrible things in your house?
It was Blondie sitting over there.
Was anything else damaged or missing that day?
Yes, some leftover chicken. I don't blame her. I have the best chicken recipe in the woods. Even better than Paula Deen. And I was missing a week's grocery money from one of my pocketbooks. It was about $100.
Did Goldilocks have permission to try on your clothes, eat the chicken, or take your $100 that day?
Are you great nuts? She certainly did not.
No further questions.
Did you see Goldilocks in your house that morning?
Barely. When we got to Baby Bear's room, Papa growled and I covered my eyes with my paws as I did see the back of a girl jumping out the window. She looked positively grisly. I saw that she had blonde hair with a red dress and yellow sleeves. She obviously has no fashion sense.
Seriously, Mama? Are you kidding with your bear references like Grizzly and Barely?
Oh, I have a million of them. It's a good thing I had my robe on at the time, otherwise it would have been Bear. If that kid says that she wasn't in my house, then she's a bare-faced liar. Want to hear more?
No thanks, Mama. Let me ask you, did you see the intruder's face that day?
No. As I said, I covered my eyes with my paws as she jumped out the window.
So you cannot be sure that it was Goldilocks who was in your house, can you?
No, I can't be sure, little Miss Smarty Pants.
And if you're not sure that she was in your house, then you can't be sure that she was the person that tasted your porridge, ate your leftover chicken, stole your money, or threw your dress and hats on the floor, can you?
No, but she does look like the child who jumped out the window over my son's bed.
How much did you pay for Baby Bear's rocking chair?
We bought it at Bears R Us for $125. We got it on sale because it was on sale for half price.
No further questions.
The prosecution calls Baby Bear to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right paw. Your other right. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Baby Bear.
You may sit down.
What happened in your house in the morning in question?
Mama made porridge, but it was way too hot, so Papa suggested we go for a bike ride to let it cool.
What happened when you came home from the bike ride?
The front door was open. Man, Papa was angry. And someone had eaten every bit of my porridge, and someone has broken my favorite rocking chair. Mama, I want my Baba.
Do you know who ate your porridge and broke your chair?
Yes, it was her. Was two. Was two.
Enough, children. Baby Bear, how do you know it was Goldilocks that did all those terrible things?
Because we found her climbing out of the window over my bed. Papa was so angry he growled, and she got frightened. I don't blame her. I get scared too when Papa growls. Anyway, she screamed and jumped out of my bedroom window.
Did you see Goldilocks?
Not completely. I was hiding behind Papa, so I only saw that she was about my height, which is 4 feet, by the way.
Did Goldilocks have permission to eat your porridge and sit in your rocking chair?
No way. I don't even know her.
No further questions.
Did Papa Bear tell you to close and lock the door as you were leaving the bike ride?
Yes.
Did you close and lock the door as you were told?
No, I forgot. I was too excited about going on the bike ride. I forget lots of things. Papa says I'd forget my head if I wasn't touching my neck. That's just weird.
Have you ever left the door open on previous occasions?
A couple of, maybe once. Okay, lots.
Has any other person or animal gone into your house on those other times when you forgot to close or lock the door?
A couple of times we found Rocky Raccoon in the kitchen and there once was a deer in the den. Papa said he hoped Rocky ate all the food from the fridge because Mama's cooking was awful and it would make Rocky sick.
Did Rocky or the deer eat or break anything?
Rocky ate stuff from the refrigerator and later threw up all over our garbage cans. Papa thought it was pretty funny, but when he blamed it on Mama's cooking, Papa had to sleep in the shed for a few days. Oh yeah, once the deer broke one of Mama's favorite vases.
No further questions.
The prosecution calls Mr. Bass to the stand.
Oh, my aching back. That's because you forgot to take your painkillers, Goku.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Mr. Bass.
You may sit down.
Where do you work?
I own the Bass Family Grocery Store with my mean, old, grumpy sister sitting over there.
Who you calling grumpy?
You angry woman.
You want a piece of me?
Bring it on, sister.
Did you happen to see Goldilocks on the morning in question?
Yes, in fact, I saw her twice that day, Sonny.
When was the first time you saw her?
It was little after 10 in the morning. I was in front of the store sweeping the sidewalk when I saw her coming towards me. 1 block before my store, she crossed the street and went into the woods.
How do you know it was a little after 10 in the morning?
Because we open at 10, and the first thing I do every morning is sweep the sidewalk in front of the store.
When was the second time you saw Goldilocks that day?
Around noon, Buster, when she came into the store and I ran up the groceries she purchased.
And how did Goldilocks look the second time you saw her?
She looked better than my old sister over there. You know, she's so old, she went to high school with Moses. The little blonde kid seemed messy and was puffing and puffing as if she had been running. Probably running from those bears or the wolf or one of those other nasty animals lurking around the woods.
No further questions. Mr. Bass. Mr. Bass.
I told you.
Mr. Bass.
Bingo. Bingo.
When you saw Goldilocks go into the woods, do you know where she went?
No, I don't, Sonny. Unlike my nosy sister, I mind my own business.
Did you say I got a big nose?
No, but now that you mention it, it is big. But not as big as your fanny.
Do you know what she did when she was in the woods?
No, like I said, it ain't my business.
No, do you have any idea how long she was in the woods?
No, what do you think? I got nothing better to do all day than keep track of someone else's kid?
Is it true that many of the children in this town come to your store to buy groceries for their families?
Not really. We probably have more kids in the store if they weren't afraid of my nasty old sister over there. She also smells like mothballs.
Mr. Bass, do you need to wear glasses to see far distance?
Yes, I'm getting up there in years, in case you can't tell.
Were you wearing your glasses while you were sweeping the sidewalk?
No.
So how is it that you can identify Goldilocks as the person who entered the woods that morning?
I'm sure it was her, Sonny.
Mr. Bass, how many fingers am I holding up?
Looks like 1172 to me.
No further questions.
The prosecution calls the Big Bad Wolf to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right paw. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
Where were you on the day in question?
I was in the woods on my way back from anger management class, and I passed by the Bears family house.
What were you doing in the woods near the Bear family house?
Well, I live near the woods, but I was near the Bears family house because I was heading to my therapist's office for my self-esteem group session. Okay, that's not the truth. The truth is, I was near the Bears family house because sometimes Mama leaves pie on the windowsill to cool, and sometimes I help myself to some pie. Pie.
Did you happen to see anything when you were near the Bear family house?
Yes, I saw someone open the window and climb into the house.
Who was that person that you saw open the window and climb into the Bear family house?
Oh, it was that goody two-shoes Goldilocks sitting over there. Oh yeah, she was wearing a red dress that day too.
What did you do next?
I was shocked to see Goldie do such a terrible thing. And everyone thinks she's such an angel. I guess I'm not the only one who has a problem with the law. Anyway, I peeked in the window and I saw Goldilocks smash Baby Bear's chair, and I saw her eating food. Later, after the bears came home, I heard a scream and saw her leap upstairs windows and run away.
No further questions.
Are you currently serving time in jail?
Unfortunately, yes.
What were you charged with?
Bullying the three pigs and harassing Red Riding Hood's grandmother.
How much time was your sentence?
5 long years.
Has that been changed at all in your connection with you testifying against Goldilocks?
Yes, it was reduced to 1 year. But that's not why I'm testifying. I'm testifying because my therapist thinks I need to do something good as part of my recovery. You know, to make up for my past behavior.
You don't like Goldilocks or her friend Red Riding Hood, do you?
No, I don't like them. But so what? That has nothing to do with my testifying.
You said you saw Goldilocks climbing through a window, correct?
Yeah, then I saw her do all the bad stuff in the house.
Would your story change if I told you that the front door to the Bears' house was left open and the police did not find any open windows on the first floor when they examined the house?
Oh, did I say window? I meant to say go through the front door. Yeah, that's right.
You're lying, aren't you, Mr. Wolf?
No way, I'm telling the truth.
No further questions.
The prosecution calls the three blind mice to the stand.
See how they run. They all ran out of the farmer's wife. Cut off their tails with the carpenter. Did you ever see such a thing in your life? Three blind mice. Three blind mice. See how they run. They all ran out of the farmer's wife. Cut off their tails with the carpenter. Did you ever see such?
Please stand and raise your right hand. Paw. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
Where do you live?
I live with my 2 brothers in the woodpile house and the 3 bears house.
Were you and your brothers in the woodpile at around noon on the date in question?
Yes, all 3 of us were home. We just returned from our jobs at the testing lab. We worked
The people at the lab test chemicals on
our skin. It's a horrible job. Last year, my brother Marty got a second tail. It was awful.
And did you hear anything at around noon on the day in question?
Yes, we heard a girl's voice.
And do you remember what that girl's voice said?
Yes, she said we shouldn't with mother and not gone into the woods. And she definitely should not gone into the girl's house.
Did you hear anything else that morning?
Yes, after the girl's voice, heard Papa Bear growl. Then we heard the police car. Oh, it was so exciting. I wish we could see it.
No further questions.
Are you or your brothers able to say,
Seriously, what kind of question is that? Are you trying to be a wise guy? Knowing he can't see with the 3 blind mice.
so you didn't see the person that said they should have gone into the woods or the bear's house, right?
I think we're blind. Obviously, if we're blind, then we couldn't see who made that statement.
So you don't know who said that statement, do you?
Wow, you got me, smarty pants. No, I don't. But it sounded like a girl.
Isn't it true that your cousin Mickey Mouse has a high voice and can be mistaken for a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to tease him about that. Boy, do you regret that is famous and lives in this fancy castle in Florida.
We live in that crummy
woodpile. He is so selfish. Why can't we help us acting about, huh? What would it see no evil, or the story of Helen Keller?
Helen Keller was a person, not a mouse. And Blindside was a football movie. I don't think it would make sense if mice were in those movies.
Whatever. I'm still mad at him anyway for stealing Minnie away from me. He's such a gold digger. I think he got her ears done.
Okay, so you can't be sure that it was a girl because you didn't see the person who made that statement, right? Is it possible that it was a boy with a very high voice like your cousin?
I guess it's possible.
No further questions.
The prosecution calls Gingerbread Boy to the stand.
Cookie jar, cookie jar, cookie jar, cookie jar. Who stole the cookies from the cookie jar? I said, who stole the cookies from the
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
Where were you at around noon on the morning in question?
I was skipping along the path through the woods.
Did anything happen to you while you were skipping on the path that morning?
Yes, someone came running from the woods onto the path and ran right into me. I was knocked to the ground and several of my new gumdrops were knocked off. Not my gumdrop buttons, anything but the buttons.
Do you know who ran into you?
Yes, it was that monster Goldilocks.
Did you see which direction Goldilocks was coming from when she entered the path and ran into you?
She was coming from the direction of the 3 Bears house.
What happened after she ran into you?
She kept going ahead straight for the end of the path that led to Main Street.
Do you know what time this conclusion happened?
Yes, it was a little afternoon. I know that because I was heading to Shrek's and Donkey's house to try out for a role in the Hollywood true story of Betty Crocker. Apparently, the rumor is she freaked
out during the filming of some show called The Iron Chef, and she attacked Bobby Flay with a clever anyway. I lost the part to the Pillsbury Doughboy. Apparently, I didn't have the edgy look they wanted.
No further questions.
Were you angry when you got knocked down that morning?
Yes, I was angry. She didn't even apologize for running into me, and she got my new mint gumdrops all dirty. Oh, my buttons.
Angry enough to want to see Goldilocks punished?
I am not making this story up.
What did you do immediately after you were knocked down?
I stood up, brushed the dirt off, picked up my mint gumdrops, and then looked to see if the person who ran into me was hurt. That's when I realized she hadn't even stopped. She just kept on running. She's a monster.
So you didn't see the face of the person who ran into you, did you?
No, I saw her back as she was leaving the woods, but I am sure it was Goldilocks.
How can you be sure if it was Goldilocks if you didn't see her face?
I saw the yellow dress and blonde hair. I knew it was her.
Do you know how many other girls in this town have blonde hair and yellow dresses?
Sadly, I do not. What do you think I am? Some kind of stalker?
So it could have been another girl who had blonde hair and a yellow dress, right? You can't be sure that it was Goldilocks who ran into you.
I am pretty sure it was her.
No further questions. The prosecution calls Chicken Little to the stand. Please stand and raise your right way. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Chicken Little.
You may sit down. Did you happen to see Goldilocks on the morning in question?
Yes, she was running into the Bass family grocery store and she was in such a hurry that she almost knocked me down.
Did Goldilocks say anything to you at that time?
Yes, she said that she was in a hurry because she was running late. I don't believe that, of course. I think she was running to get away from the falling sky. Frank Purge was a murderer. KFC is run by killers. She can make it to the work of the devil. Ooh, I just need to get that one.
And did you happen to notice her appearance that day?
Yes, she seemed to be out of breath, was a mess, and had what appeared to be a piece of the sky sticking in her hair. But God!
You mean a pine cone, not a piece of the sky, right?
You say pine cone, I say sky. It all looked like the end of the world to me.
What time was it when you saw Goldilocks?
It was the hour of doom. It was the hour when the sky is at its weakest. You know, when it might fall.
And what time was that, you nutcase?
All in afternoon. God!
No further questions.
Did you happen to see what direction Goldilocks was coming from?
No, I was focused on making sure the sky wasn't falling. It does that from time to time, you know. I had to make sure it was safe to leave the store.
So you don't know where she was prior to your encounter?
No, maybe she was at the Sky Fallout shelter. But God!
Did Goldilocks say why she was running late that morning?
No, like I said, I think she was trying to get indoors from the falling sky, but just didn't want to tell me. She thinks I'm crazy. But God!
I don't think so. So she could have been running late for any number of reasons. Isn't that correct?
Yes, I guess so. I still think it was the sky she was running from.
Are you taking any medications to deal with your mental condition?
What mental condition? God!
The obvious one. You know, get paranoid about the sky falling.
Oh, that, yes. I take lots of medication, and I see a therapist, and I call Dr. Phil from TV, and I try to communicate with UFOs. And I think I know where Jimmy Hoffa is buried.
No further questions.
The prosecution calls Miss Bass to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right hand.
Stand, I just sat.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Miss Bass.
You may sit down.
Where do you work?
What?
I said, where do you work?
I own the Bass Family Grocery Store with my lazy, good-for-nothing brother.
Did you see Goldilocks in your store on that day in question?
Yes, we sold bagels and lox on that day.
No, Miss Bass. Not bagels and lox. Did you see Goldilocks on your store on that day in question?
Oh, Goldilocks. Yes, I saw her that day.
How did Goldilocks look when you saw her that morning?
She was sweating and had a pine cone in her hair. Her hair was messy and she was huffing and puffing as if she had just been running. Probably up to no good with that little whippersnapper. Oh yeah, she was also wearing a red dress with yellow sleeves.
What time was it when you saw Goldilocks in your store that day?
It was about noon. I know that because I take my beauty pills with my lunch, and I had just finished taking them when she came into the store.
I see those pills aren't working for you, you bat.
Pipe down, you old fool.
No further questions.
You described Goldilocks as huffing and puffing and that she looked like a mess. Is that correct?
Yes, weren't you paying attention?
But you don't know why she was huffing and puffing and sweaty, do you?
I assumed she had been running, maybe doing some of that funky dancing all the young punks do these days. Hit it.
So you don't know if Goldilocks was jogging or if she had been running to get to your store so she could complete her grocery shopping, do you?
No.
Did Goldilocks buy anything when she was in your store that morning?
Yes, she paid in cash, $100 bill. She bought groceries from a list she was carrying.
One more question. Do you need glasses to see?
Yes.
Were you wearing your glasses when you claimed you saw Goldilocks that day?
Hey, that's more than one question. And no, I wasn't wearing my glasses.
She also wasn't wearing her teeth, her hearing aid, or her wig. That woman has more fake parts than Kim Kardashian.
No further questions.
The prosecution rests.
The defense calls Sly Fox to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right paw. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Sly Fox.
You may sit down.
First, can I say I hate that song? I do not sound like that. I do not say pow 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 or hockey hockey ho. I speak English, as well as 5 other languages. I speak fox, I speak wolf, I speak ferret, I speak weasel, and I speak Mandarin.
Do you know the big bad wolf?
Yes, the wolf and I are in the same support group together, Calmness for Canines. It's an anger management group.
Did you meet him in the support group?
No, I first met him in jail. We were in a jail cell together, and he was in for bullying the 3 little pigs, and I was in for harassing Chicken Little, which I didn't do.
While you were cellmates, did the wolf tell you anything about his testimony?
Yeah, he said he'd make up a really good lie about Goldilocks, and it was going to get him out of the big house early.
What was his lie?
The wolf was going to tell the prosecution that he saw Goldilocks break Little Bear's chair and eat some chicken or something, and that was going to help convict that little goody two-shoes.
Do you know what the real story was?
Yeah, the only reason why he saw the girl go into their house was because the wolf was hoping to catch her and eat her when she came out. Also, he didn't really see her do anything. He just made that stuff up. Man, he's some good liar.
No further questions.
So you were in prison, is that correct? Yes, I was in the big house 3 different times. The last time you were in jail was for harassing poor defenseless Chicken Little. I already said I didn't do that. They made a mistake. I was framed. Isn't it true that you don't like the wolf? What makes you say that? Wolf and I are buds. He's one of my peeps. Aren't you angry that he was smarter than you and that he figured out a way to get himself out of jail early while you still sit behind bars? Well, if you call lying a figuring a way out of jail, then yeah, I guess he figured a way out. The wolf is a master storyteller. When we were in jail, he told me that he was once engaged to Megan Fox, which is just ridiculous because she's a total fox, not a wolf. Aren't you lying about not harassing Chicken Little, just like you are lying here today? No. Didn't the police catch you holding an axe over Chicken Little's neck? That was a mistake. That was a misunderstanding. No further questions. The defense calls Mrs. Locks to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
You don't know who I am? I'm Mrs. Locks.
You may.
Has Goldilocks ever broken the law before?
No, never. She knows the tabloids would have a field day with something like that. Right, my little Gracie? You are such an angel.
Mrs. Locks, don't you mean Goldie, not Gracie?
Gracie, Goldie, whatever.
What kind of girl is your daughter?
My agent and the nanny told me that she's super talented and is going to be a big star.
Were you surprised when the police came to your house and arrested Goldilocks, claiming she had gone into the Three Bears house?
I wasn't surprised to see the police. When you're as famous as I am, it's not uncommon to have the police at your house, usually to chase away the nasty paparazzi. As for them being there for my daughter, Gloria, no one on my staff believes she's done the things they claim she did.
Mrs. Locks, don't you mean Goldie, not Gloria?
Gloria, Goldie, whatever.
You sent your daughter to go purchase some groceries that morning, correct?
Did I? That seems odd. We have servants to do the shopping. Is that what my daughter told you? Really, you just cannot get good help these days. Imagine sending my darling Greta to the store. How dangerous.
Mrs. Locks, don't you mean Goldie, not Greta?
Greta, Goldie, whatever.
Did your daughter return home with all the items she was told to purchase?
My agent said she came home with some bags from the grocery store.
No further questions. What time did Goldilocks leave your house to go to the Bass grocery store?
Well, I wasn't home that morning. I left at 7:00 a.m. to go to the set of my new movie, so I asked my best friends Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, and Kylie Jenner to keep an eye on her. You know, they're such good role models.
What time did Goldilocks return from the Macy's grocery store?
Well, I wasn't home that afternoon. I was getting ready for my parents on the Jerry Springer show. The topic was bad parenting. parenting. I have no idea why they wanted me there. But the pool boy said she came home sometime after 12.
How long does it take to walk from your house to the Bass Family grocery store?
I wouldn't know. I ride everywhere in a limo. But when I allow them to speak, the servants tell me it takes them about 15 minutes.
Do you know what your daughter was doing for the other 1.5 hours she was gone that day?
No idea. My assistant said maybe she was shopping or perhaps getting mani-pedi. I've been told she really loves to do those things.
Has Goldilocks ever gone into the woods before?
The staff told me she used to go in there with Red Riding Hood. So I told the nanny and she needed to tell my little angel, Georgina, not to go in the woods anymore because we were concerned for her safety.
Mrs. Locks, don't you mean Goldie, not Georgina?
Georgina, Goldie, whatever.
Is it true that Goldilocks frequently disobeys you?
I wouldn't say frequently. Like any child, she has occasions when she doesn't want to listen to the maid, the nanny, the driver, the butler, or my assistant. But most of the time, she is a good girl.
No further questions.
The defense calls Mr. Lux to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record.
Mr. Locke?
You may sit down.
Mr. Locks, what do you do for a living?
I'm in the waste management business.
Has anyone ever told you that they saw Goldilocks go into the woods after she was told not to go there?
No, I never had anything like that.
So to the best of your knowledge, she has not disobeyed those instructions, correct?
Yeah, as far as I know. You see, I got one of my guys, little Louie. He keeps an eye on my little Ravioli and makes sure nothing bad happens to her. And you say he ain't seen her going into the woods.
How was your relationship with your daughter?
It is great. I love her very much, and she's a terrific girl. We do lots of father-daughter things together. We go to the track, we read the racing forums, we play poker, we make crafts, that kind of stuff, and rarely argue. There's no way she'd do that stuff. You know, stealing and breaking things.
Just because you can't believe it doesn't mean she didn't do it.
I believe my daughter. If she says she didn't do the things she's accused of, then I believe her. How much you want to bet she didn't do these things? I could get Johnny Knuckles to lay us the odds if he got the dough.
You said crafts. You do crafts with your daughter?
Yeah, got a problem with that? Last week you made a nice pair of cement shoes for a rat. You hear that over there, Mr. Owl?
No further questions.
Has your daughter ever disobeyed you before?
Of course not, but then again, I don't really handle the discipline in the house. That's the nanny's area. I do know she's aggravated the staff from time to time, but nothing serious. It was only small stuff. Right, my little cannoli?
Do you have any idea what your daughter was doing during the 2 hours it took her to get to the fast grocery store?
No, I wasn't with her that day. I was in New Jersey getting rid of a Never mind.
What would you say if I told you the wise old owl will testify that your daughter has gone into the woods with Little Red Riding Hood on several occasions, even though she was told not to go there?
First I'd say he sounds more like a rat than an owl. Then I'd say he's making a deadly mistake. Deadly. Cause you know, it's not like my little calamari would disobey her mother.
But you wouldn't say that if the wise old owl is wrong, would you?
I don't know. I'd like to believe he's wrong, but I'm not with my daughter 24 hours a day. Capiche? I go to the track, I go to the OTB, I shoot pool, I run numbers, I break a few knees. I mean, I got a lot of things to do. So I don't know what she's doing every minute of the day.
No further questions.
The defense calls dreadlocks to the stand.
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
Do you know Goldilocks?
Yeah, Mom, she's my cousin.
Wait a minute, she's your cousin? You look nothing like her, or her parents.
I'm her distant cousin from the island, Mon. I moved in with her family last year so I could go to school in the U.S. and practice my music.
Practice your music?
My father is a guitar player and his name is also Locks. His stage name is Pickin. He thought it was funny to be named Pickin Locks. He sent me to live with my cousin to get a better education and work on my music.
Do you know anyone else involved in this case?
Yeah, I know Rocky Raccoon from school, Grumpy Old Mr. and Miss Bass from the store in town, and I've heard of the Big Bad Wolf.
What do you mean you've heard of the Big Bad Wolf?
I'm in a jazz band with the Three Little Pigs. It's called A Soul with a Side of Bacon. And they are always complaining about being bullied by him. I hear that on a few occasions he's actually blown their houses over.
You said you know Rocky Raccoon from school.
Yeah, Mom. He's in my math class and science class. He's always bragging about breaking into people's houses and taking stuff. Oh, but my aunt thinks he does that stuff because he has rabies.
No further questions.
So you said Rocky Raccoon is always trying to sell stuff he's stolen, is that correct?
Yeah, Mom, but like I said, it's mostly junk, so nobody ever buys any of it.
Did you see him try to sell anything from the Three Bears house?
Not recently, but a few months back, he did try to sell some Barbies he said he took from Baby Bear. They were garbage.
Did Rocky ever say he took money from people's homes?
I've never heard him say that, but he could have stolen some and just not said anything.
Isn't it true that your cousin gets in trouble a lot because she doesn't listen to her parents?
Sort of. I mean, her parents are never home, so yeah, Mom. We don't really listen to them. Her dad is in the waste management business. At least that's what he says he does. And her mother is an actress. We spend most of our time with the nanny or the housekeeper, and sometimes it's fun to get them angry by not listening.
Does your cousin go into the woods a lot?
Sometimes she goes with Little Red to pick flowers and chase butterflies.
Do you know if your cousin was in the woods on the day in question?
No, Mom, actually I don't. I was in the garage with my band practicing the new song I wrote. It's called Everything Tastes Better with a Side of Bacon.
No further questions. The defense calls Red Riding Hood to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
Do you know Goldilocks? Like, yeah, she's my BFFL, best friends for life. Hey, Goldie. Hi.
Do you know if Goldilocks has ever gone into the woods before?
Like, yeah, we used to go there once in a while, but the mall is way cooler. We get our hair done, we text the boys, and we shop. Anyway, like, we haven't gone into the woods in a long time because our parents told us not to. Bummer.
In the past, when you went into the woods, did Goldilocks ever stray off the path?
Like, no way. Are you crazy? That's like so dangerous. She would never do that. We were both too afraid we'd get lost.
Do you think Goldilocks would steal from the bears or damage their property?
Seriously, no way. She would never eat porridge like too many carbs, and it's like totally disgusting. Now if they left a grande, double calf, light mochaccino laying around, maybe.
Did you see Goldilocks go into the woods on the day in question?
No, like I wasn't with her that day.
Where were you that day?
Like I was at my grandmother's house for brunch. Like Granny was so weird that day. She had these big, great teeth and great big eyes and stuff. And I was like, whatevs.
How did you get to your grandmother's house?
Like I took a shortcut through the woods that morning, but I didn't see anyone.
No further questions. You said Goldilocks is your best friend, is that correct?
Like, yeah, I'm her best friend. Hi, Goldie. Hi. Oh my gosh, like I totally have to tweet how cool the court thing is. You know we were both named after shapes, red and gold.
Don't you mean named after colors?
Shapes, colors, whatever. I'm not that good at social studies.
As Goldie's best friend, I'm sure you don't want her to get in trouble, right?
Like, good guess, Sherlock Holmes. Of course I don't want her to get into trouble.
Would you do anything to keep your best friend from getting into trouble?
Like, let's not be ridiculous. I would never wear Hollister or hang out with a gingerbread boy. What, he's like 1,000,000 calories or something? But I would do whatever I could to help Goldie.
Would you be dishonest to help Goldie?
OMG, like, no way.
But you were being dishonest when you told your parents that you wouldn't go into the woods with Goldie in the past when you knew that the two of you were not allowed to go.
Like, that's different. Lying to your parents is one thing, but lying in court? No way.
So sometimes you do lie.
Duh, of course. It's actually pretty easy. Let me show you. Like, that's totally a cool outfit you're wearing.
Oh, thank you. Hey, that's mean. You testify that you did not see Goldilocks in the day in question, so you really don't know whether she went into the woods that day or not, do you?
Like, no, I do not.
Like, no further questions.
The defense calls dreadlocks. Oh. Defense calls Rocky the raccoon to the stand.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
Have you ever gone into the bear's house without permission?
I don't think I want to answer that. I plead the fifth. Okay, yes, I went a couple of times. I know I shouldn't go in their house, but a few months back it was winter, and in the winter it's tough to find enough food by picking through the trash. So I sneak into the bear's house and help myself to some of their leftovers.
Were you in the house on the morning in question?
No way, I only went in the house twice, and last time I took some leftover stew from the fridge and it was awful. It gave me the runs for a week. Having the runs when you're covered in fur is not fun.
How can you explain the gray hair that was found in Papa Bear's porch if you weren't in the house?
I'm not the only animal in the woods with gray hair. The mice and Papa Bear also have gray hair. I think Papa has gray hair from having Baby Bear as a son. I've heard that Baby Bear is a real handful, if you know what I mean.
Why should we believe that it wasn't you this time?
Because I'm telling the truth, it wasn't me. Besides, I'm nocturnal, so I would have been sleeping that morning.
No further questions.
Have you ever gone into the bear's house without their permission?
Yes, as I already said, I've gone a couple of times.
Why did you go into the house on these previous occasions?
As I said, it was the winter and I was starving for food. I noticed that sometimes Baby Bear forgets to close and lock the door. I heard he isn't too bright and I know the bears have food, so I went in to eat. I'll never make that mistake again.
Did you go into the house in the morning in question?
No, I already said I was not. You think I like being sick for a week? I may be a raccoon, but I'm not a fool.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I am sure. I have never gone in the house in the nice weather seasons because there is plenty of food around. Plus, right now, I'm training for my next big fight. I'm boxing Bullwinkle next month, so I have to be careful what I eat.
No further questions.
The defense calls the wise-old owl to the stands.
Please stand and raise your right wing. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
Where were you between 10 a.m. and noon on the day in question?
I was up in my tree in the woods reading the Woo's paper and doing the crossword puzzle in the New York Times.
Did you see anyone in the woods on the day in question?
Of course, the woods are filled with all kinds of wildlife. I saw some deer even eating over by the pond. I saw 2 squirrels fighting over a nut in the bushes. I saw a gingerbread boy and the big bad wolf.
What was the gingerbread boy doing?
At around 12:14, I saw him walking along the path towards Shrek's and Donkey's house, probably going for another audition. It's sad, poor guy hasn't recognized his career's over.
What was the big bad wolf doing?
I saw him twice. The first time at 9:45, he was heading deeper into the forest, and I saw him later at 12:17. Right after I saw the gingerbread boy, the wolf was heading towards Main Street.
Did you see anyone else that day?
I saw Little Red Riding Hood at 9:40 heading towards her grandmother's house. Her grandmother's is a cougar, you know, not the animal. I mean, she dates young guys. I mean, Granny gotta be pushing 80 years old.
Did you see Goldilocks in the woods that day?
No, I did not. I got things to do. I had to go run to the bank that morning to cash my check from the Rise Potato Chip Company. I'm the spokes-owl.
No further questions. Where do you live?
I have a nest that's exactly 23 feet up in an evergreen tree in the forest. Oh, I picked the evergreen tree because mice live near those trees and I eat mice. Oh, the blind ones, they're so easy to catch. I know they're rodents, but I have nice founder set and they don't taste half bad if you dip them in cheese.
Have you ever seen Goldilocks before?
The little blonde girl sitting over there? Yes, I seen her and her best friend, Little Red Riding Hood, in the woods exactly 12 occasions.
What were they doing on these other occasions?
Usually acting all silly, you know, giggling, texting on your phones, saying things like OMG, BFF, LOLTTYL. I mean, really, don't kids know how to talk no more anymore? Seriously, they both need to GAL.
GAL?
Get a life.
Have you ever seen Goldilocks leave the path?
Actually, on that question, I'm not quite sure. I do believe she might left the path on one occasion.
Mr. Owl, one final question. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Really?
Seriously? You're gonna make me go there? Okay, I 1, I 2, I 3. Right, the world will never know.
No further questions.
The defense calls Goldilocks to the stand. Did you go into the bear's house that morning?
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record. You may sit down.
Did you go into the bear's house that morning?
Yeah, but I didn't know it was their house, and I didn't know it was wrong to go inside. Like, I was just curious.
Did you eat baby bear's porridge?
First of all, what the heck is porridge? Can anyone even tell me? It looked all gray, lumpy, mushy, and besides, I saw gray hair in one of the bowls. I was totally grossed out.
Did you eat the chicken from the refrigerator?
Like, no, I didn't even go in the kitchen. And besides, not only am I friends with Chicken Little, I think it would be totally rude to eat something that could have been one of his relatives. But, like, I'm also a vegetable, so I totally gas if I eat meat.
Don't you mean vegetarian and not vegetable?
Don't be silly. I'm not old enough to be an animal doctor.
That's a veterinarian. Never mind. Did you destroy baby bear's chair?
Are you kidding me? Do I look strong enough to break a wooden chair used by a bear? Anyway, I found it like that the way it was too. I would never break someone else's stuff.
Did you throw Mama Bear's dresses and hats on the floor?
No way. I found them like that too. Besides, if you think I put on a dress worn by a middle-aged bear, you must be cray-cray. These dresses were totally not my style. I mean, Mama Bear is so old. What is she, like 28 or 29 years old or something?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, yes, I did.
If you didn't do those things, then why did you run away when the bears came home?
Of course I ran away. I was frightened. They were bears, for goodness sake.
No further questions.
So you admit going inside the home of the 3 bears?
Yes, but the door was left open. I didn't know something was wrong.
You knew that you did not have permission to go into the house, didn't you?
Like, I didn't know who owned it, and I didn't know if someone lived there. Like, it was so badly decorated. You know, like the 1970s? Shadowrock planting on all the walls, lava lamps, wooden furniture, like so ugly. And it looked really run down and stuff. It looked like no one lived there, so I didn't know I needed permission.
Did anyone give you permission to go into the house?
No.
So you admit going into the house, but you deny that you did any of those other things, like eat the porridge and chicken, break baby bear's chair, steal the money, and ruin Mama Bear's dresses while you were in the house?
Yes, like I said already, I didn't do any of those things.
You are an admitted trespasser, yet you want the jury to believe that you didn't do those other things?
I'm not a trespasser, and yes, I didn't do any of those things. OMG, please don't send me to jail. I don't want to wear one of those ugly orange jumpsuits. Like, they are so tacky. The orange totally crushes my spray tan.
Did you see anyone else near the house that morning?
No, I didn't see anyone else.
So you have no explanation for who else could have done those things, do you?
No, I do not.
No further questions. Your Honor.
That's right.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let's review what you've heard. The police seem to be better at describing their favorite donuts than investigating crimes. The 3 bears could use some family therapy, and they should rely on Baby Bear to close and lock the door. Mr. and Mrs. Bass has some serious anger and
communication issues and should sell their store and retire to Florida. The Big Bad Wolf is a convicted criminal, a bully, and a liar. The Feywild mice need to talk to a therapist about their jealousy toward their cousin. The gingerbread boy has been in the oven too long and has cookie dough for brains. And Chicken Little belongs in a nut house, not a hen house. As you can see, while all of the testimony you've heard today proves that this town is a mess, it certainly doesn't prove that Goldilocks did the things that she is accused of. Based upon the evidence before you, you have no choice but to vote not guilty and return this sweet child to her loving parents. Thank you.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let's review what you heard. Miss Locks can't even remember her own daughter's name and is a terrible parent. Mr. Locks appears to be more focused on gambling and other criminal activities. Goldie's cousin, Dread, has no idea what she was doing that day. Like Little Red Riding Hood wasn't with her BFF that day. The Sly Fox is a jailhouse snitch. Rocky the Raccoon is nocturnal, so he couldn't have been in the house that morning, and the Wise Old Owl wasn't paying attention that morning and probably missed seeing Goldie. The 3 pigs don't like the wolf and are too friendly with Goldie to be trusted. The Big Bad Wolf and the 3 bears said it was Goldie who was in the bear's house. In fact, Goldie admitted that she was in the house that day. It's obvious these crimes were committed by Goldilocks. Don't be fooled by that phony, sweet, little innocent act. It's obvious who committed these crimes. Thus, you can come to no other conclusion than to find Goldilocks guilty. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that concludes the testimony in this case. You have heard all of the evidence presented by both sides. It is now up to you to deliberate and decide Goldilocks' fate. First charge, if you find that Goldilocks knowingly entered or remained unlawfully in the house owned by the 3 bears, then you will find that she is guilty of committing trespass in the 2nd degree. Second charge, if you find that Goldilocks stole the porridge or chicken or the $100 from the 3 bears, then you must find her guilty of petty larceny. Third charge, if you find that Goldilocks intentionally or recklessly damaged Baby Bear's chair or Mama Bear's dresses, then you must find her guilty of criminal mischief in the 4th degree. You must reach a unanimous verdict.
Jury, follow me.
Only because as soon as they come back, we have to clear you out of the gym for dismissal. If you are going to